Hello, honors, and happy Friday. Today's review video, is on Rudyard Kipling's The Widow at Windsor and James Barrie's From Lucy, England Lady. We'll also take a look at the selections from the online edition in case you'd like to use some of those for your essay. Those include the St. Crispin's Day speech from the play Henry V, Home Thoughts from Abroad by Robert Browning, The Buried Giant, My Old Home, which is listed on your Unit 6 test paper as a suggested work to use, and Writing as an Act of Hope. So we're going to start right there with these tertiary selections, or the ones that are only available online, just to give a brief review of what they're like, and if any of those capture your interest, you might decide to use one of those on that Unit 6 essay. First, we have the St. Crispin's Day speech and the Home Thoughts from Abroad. In William Shakespeare's St. Crispin's Day speech, Henry V speaks to his men before they go into battle. They may not win. They end up winning it, however. He wants to give them hope and build their patriotism for Britain. He tells his men that he treasures honor more than anything else. The nobles who fight in battle will become household names. Anyone who survives the coming battle will be envied for having fought for his country. He tells them that all those who fight with him are his brothers, no matter how humble their status. That's the famous Band of Brothers speech from the play Henry V by Shakespeare. Another work right there by it is Robert Browning's Home Thoughts from Abroad. That expresses the speaker's longing for home. He describes the beauty of an English spring and disparages that gaudy melon flower in his temporary home abroad. So from William Shakespeare's St. Crispin's Day speech, we have the pride of being from one's own country, a very patriotic speech there. And then for Robert Browning, somebody who's been displaced from home, having homesick feelings and wanting home again. Also, you have a section called The Buried Giant. In this excerpt from Ishiguro's The Buried Giant, a Japanese work, but it's about Britain. The elderly protagonist, Axel and Beatrice, live in 6th century Britain. They struggle to survive in a hard scrapple land, complete with dangerous ogres. Axel awakens one morning and discovers a decision. The excerpt ends with Axel waiting for the community to awaken. The remainder of that novel that was written concerns the effort of the couple to retrieve their memories, which have been clouded by a spell cast by Merlin. So a Japanese work about ogres in Britain and the King Arthur legend mixed into. And so that's an interesting take on home. So this excerpt is part of a fantasy about a place that existed in reality, but the author has added supernatural and magical elements. So it's interesting to see how that connects, because Axel and Beatrice live communally in a warren where heat and privacy are limited. So Axel's early morning anxieties and gnawing anxiousness suggest to him that something about home is missing. So, what does it mean to call a place home? What is missing to make a place not feel like home? Also, we have a selection called My Old Home. And this is the one I suggested on the Unit 6 handout that describes what we're doing here. My Old Home is a short story by Lu Sun. It's a first-person narrative of a man who travels to his old home to move his remaining family closer to his current home. He's shocked, though, by the disparity between what he remembers and what he now sees. A meeting with a playmate from his youth shocks him further, since class distinctions have now created a barrier between them. He observes that only the children, his young nephew, and the son of his old friend are comfortable with each other now. So this is a good lesson about home, as far as if you've moved away from your home and you go back and visit, and how things are never the same. There's an old saying, you can't go home again. So this shows that disparity between how you remember it and now how things are once you go back. We also have a section called Writing as an Act of Hope. Isabel Allen's Writing as an Act of Hope discusses the way in which her home region of Latin America is depicted in her novels. She notes that she lives in an apparent world of beauty and plenty, the contrasts with the real world of violence and poverty beneath the surface. She dismisses critics who say she's too political. She's telling about the reality she perceives in daily life, so her writing gives her hope. So Lind discusses the way that her native country provides her vivid experiences for her writing. In her essay, Home is a Place of Violent Contradictions. The home that seems idyllic is in fact hiding a real place that is filled with menace. However, the writer treasures her homeland, and the text provides a strong response to the essential question, what does it mean to call a place home? Now, back in our secondary section, in class we studied two more works. We studied The Widow at Windsor by Rudyard Kipling and From Lucy, England Lady by James Barrie. Rudyard Kipling's The Widow at Windsor expresses the speaker's view of Queen Victoria and the empire she rules in very harsh terms. It's a Cockney soldier who does not like being sent all around the world to take over Earth for Queen Victoria and making her rich, while the regular soldier doesn't benefit at all. Speaking in his Cockney accent, the voice of the poem describes the way the Queen sends troops into war. He says that the Queen is wealthy, but only at the expense of the troops, who probably will never see their homes again. In James Barrie's From Lucy, England Lady, Lucy is a Jamaican immigrant, and she responds to a friend back home who's written a letter, and she's asked about Queen Elizabeth, and she wonders if Lucy has had tea with the Queen yet. And of course, Lucy has to reply, no, I haven't been invited to have tea with the Queen yet. But she says that the Queen waves her hand and makes everyone happy whenever she appears in public. But Lucy feels sorry for the Queen, because the Queen is always on display 24/7. And Lucy ends with a suggestion that suggests that the reason the Queen seems happy is that she is close to her home. So the two poems provide interesting perspectives on home. In The Widow at Windsor, the speaker resents the powerful but remote figure who has sent him far from a home he will probably never see again. But in From Lucy, England Lady, the Queen is essentially powerless and pitiable. The Jamaican speaker describes her, but only in gentle terms, and then comments that people are always happier when they are closer to home. So I hope this review over our works that we've had in our unit number 6, the Victorian and Modern Ages Combined, will show you a few works that you are to include in your essay with the theme of the home. Now, next week, we're going to go back and we're going to take a brief look at the different units that we've had. Now, remember that this coming Monday, your unit number 6 essay test is due. So make sure you submit that on Google Classroom, okay? And then we will have a review of our units that we've had. We're not going to have a semester exam. You got lucky on that. But I still want to review the units with you, so please join me for those. Have a good weekend.